I want to talk about social media and how it's impacting everyone's life, my life. Basically, social media is very antisocial if you think about it, because instead of going out and talking to people face to face, meeting them, or even picking up the phone and calling them, people are just texting each other, no sound, no tone, no emotions, and very little effort because you're not focused on one person, you're talking to several people. The other thing with Instagram and Facebook and all these other photo apps is that you see all these people who spend time and effort at the gym and wearing the nice clothes and getting the perfect lighting, and then using a lot of Photoshop and other tools to refine the look because they are selling their look, and it's modeling and marketing and advertising. When we open those apps, we automatically naturally compare ourselves to those people, and it's depressing. Also, you see snippets of people's lives, and they obviously don't want to portray or show when they're sad or when they're miserable or when they're broke and when they're struggling. They just want you to have that glimpse of a smile. And obviously, same thing with YouTube, my videos and everyone's videos. We all have difficult lives, but we don't show that because no one wants to see anyone being miserable. So I find that social media is very antisocial, and it's impacting my life and the life of many others that I know. And I wanted to just talk about this subject a little bit and urge everyone to pick up the phone and contact your friends and family and talk to them and go see them and have those old-fashioned barbecues and dinner parties and just see people in real life. And remember, no one's perfect. I know so many beautiful models and amazingly attractive people. When you talk to them, they're really insecure. So ordinary people like you and me, we have no hope. So we all know that we have our own insecurities, and we all think we have flaws, but so does everyone else. And the most important thing is to remember that we're all human beings, and inside the skin, inside the body, inside our own heads, we're all the same people. And it just, the shell on the outside makes us look different. What I find is that I, and probably many other people, we waste hours and hours of our time on social media without realizing that life is passing us by, and we are too busy just thinking that we are doing something interesting with our time, but it's not really. In the long run, it's quite damaging, because if you think about it, it's like sugar. If you're really, really hungry and you have a spoon of sugar, it increases your blood glucose level for a short amount of time. Your insulin is secreted and you feel like, oh, I don't feel so hungry and faint anymore. But if you don't have a proper meal, you'll keep getting the same issue over and over again. So it's that kind of, we all crave human interaction, and looking at pictures and social media gives you that little boost, the sugar that you get for a tiny fraction of a second. You look at someone, makes you happy for a minute, or not even a minute, a few seconds, and then you move on. Once you close it, reality kicks in, and you go into that mindset where, oh, I'm not all that, I'm not like these people. So it puts you into that depressive mental state. It is a kind of an addiction, and I'm sure in 20 to 40 years' time, our future generations will look back and think, oh gosh, they were all addicted. It's like when we look back at the 60s and 70s and the hippies, and we think about all the dope and LSD and things that they were doing, and we think, oh, they were not in touch with reality. I think our future generations are going to think about us in the same way. We're not taking chemical drugs, but we are taking an addiction which triggers the same kind of drugs produced by our body. So we get happy, we get excited, and it's the desire to have more and more and more. I, for one, I realized that I was spending wasting so much time on social media. So I have now decided to cut down, and I have pretty much set a 2-hour limit on all the social media apps. So the iPhones these days allow you to put a limit on screen time or how much you use the social media apps. So I set it, and now after 2 hours it automatically disables all the social media apps. So if I am using it for 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, half an hour there, it combines the whole thing for over a 24-hour period, and after 2 hours it blocks it. Then if I have to go into something specifically to reply to a message or to get in touch with someone, I have to enable it to say extend it for 15 minutes or an hour, or turn it off for the rest of the day. My choice, but it kind of reminds you that you are wasting so much time. It really shocked me once when, can't remember whether it was a weekend or a weekday, but the weather was bad and I was home, and I ended up spending 4 or 5 hours, because when I looked at the time of how much time I'd spent on social media, I was thinking, gosh, I've been looking at my phone for all this time, sitting at home, instead of being productive. So it puts you into a depressive state of mind. So I urge you to reconsider and think about what you do with social media. Obviously, one thing I would say, do not go off social media, because there's also a trend at the moment with the new generation who are like, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on any of the social media. I don't even have a smartphone, I just have a normal phone. I'll give you an analogy. It's like, an old grandmother who doesn't want to change her television because it's one of those where you press a button to change the channel, you push a thing up to turn the volume up, and there's no remote controls. Then you give her a TV with the remote control, and suddenly she has no idea, or he has no idea. It could be a man, but I'm thinking of my grandmother. Then they have no idea what to do with it. They look at the remote and they're like, the buttons are gone. There are all these things on it with these icons. They mean nothing to me. I remember I bought my mother an iPad, and she couldn't understand why there were these little icons instead of words. And I was trying to explain to her that this trash icon means trash. You just bin it. And she's like, but why would I need to bin it? And then when she had read the emails, she would delete them, because she said, that's what it was. I'm like, you don't have to delete them, you have to keep them, because you might need them in future. And so those concepts were alien to them. Same thing with technology. When you have a phone and you get a software update, you get new features added to it, and sometimes like a couple of menus, some changes, because they're small incremental changes over a period of 5-10 years, you don't even notice it. Your brain adjusts and changes accordingly. Your reflexes, your actions, like the 3D touch on the phone, you press it hard on the screen, it does something different to when you touch it. All these things are second nature to us because we use technology and we grow with it. If you take a step back and say, I'm not going to use technology, I'm not going to use social media, in 5 to 10 years' time, you will have serious problems, because one, that you won't understand how the marketplace, the advertising world, the business world is working. You won't understand a lot of the other technologies, and there's a good chance that you may not have enough history online, and people may not believe who you say you are, because even now, if someone contacts me on social media, the first thing I do is Google them and check if they have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, how long have they had those, what kind of person they are. And you can get to know a lot about a person looking at their online profile. And these people who are the new hippies who don't want to be in touch with the modern world, they're going to really struggle when the time comes and their future employers are looking and thinking, are you a real person or are you a fake person? Do you even exist? I think in China they're looking at social media instead of credit rating and all that, which is, I think, going too far. I don't wish this upon any society where your life is ruled by social media and how people rate you, because there's an episode on Black Mirror that talks about this and it's really awful. But the main thing is, you have to keep up with technology, you have to keep up with the modern world. You just have to make sure that you're not going nuts with it and you're not using it all the time and allowing it to take over your life. As long as you know how things are, how they work. The last and a slightly harsh thing to say is, all these people that I've met who are not interested in social media and want to be off it are the most unimportant people that no one on this planet would want to pry upon. So they say, I don't want people to know about my life, I'm a private person. These private people are the most unimportant people. So think before you say these words that I don't want to be on social media because I'm a private person and I don't want the world to know. Why would the world want to know who you are and what you do? I pose this question to you, only you know the answer. Because most of the important people who are making a difference in this world are not ashamed or not afraid of being out there and being known. So think before you make these statements. As with anything in life, you have to find the right balance, and social media should have the same thing, where you have the right balance between obsession and usage. Hope this was of some use. Please comment below because I would love to know your opinions. And as always, please subscribe and like this video because my measly little channel has very few subscribers. Thanks for watching.